Welcome back to Let's Play Kyuuyaku Megami Tensei. Sorry for the abrupt editing at the start of this episode, but I figured I would cut out my walk back to the BN recreational area after we found the shortcut back to BN from the Infini Palace last episode. So, even though I referenced last time that there is a Cathedral of Shadows location in the 4th floor of Infini Palace, I normally just end up going back to BN anyways, just because most of the time it's more convenient, because you can go back here and then also heal. Infini Palace, the only healing person is on the 1st floor, so yeah, it's just more convenient most of the time to go back over here. We are going to fuse together our Jin and Trent Reznor to get Thor, who is a pretty good demon, good physical attacker, and also has Terukaja. Though, unfortunately, I find that, at least in this game, Terukaja is a little underwhelming. I wish the buffs were a little more useful in this game. Kind of, you know, compared to later entries, just in this game, they feel very underwhelming. And it also doesn't help that not a lot of demons have buffs, so that's a little disappointing. We can also fuse a Barong, who I highly recommend getting, because they have Sabatma, which I think is supposed to be Sabatama, at least it is in later entries. Might just be a, you know, character limit thing, you know how it is with fan translations or, you know, localizing early games with memory issues like this, but it could be Sabatma in this game. Kyuuyaku spells have, like, a really weird naming convention compared to what, you know, we would be familiar with through later entries in the series and all that, so it could just be Sabatma in this game. I'm actually not sure if it's different and they added an A later. But yeah, Sabatma allows us to summon demons without having to summon them through our comp, which will dramatically save us from having to, you know, accrue costs and get further into debt. Well, not really into debt. We have 29,000 Maka, but, you know, we could always have more. But yeah, we got Thor, we got Barong, we have Chimera. We're rolling with the big boys now. There's a giant, and I think I referenced earlier when the giant first appeared, but like past a certain point in this game, there's just always a giant in every dungeon, and I think part of the reason is the developers realize that they're very good fusion fodder, and I'm not complaining, so we're gonna go ahead and recruit this giant here. It'll be useful. And yeah, the rest of this playthrough is going to be a lot of me kind of doing the thing where I have a bunch of, like, you know, pieces of thread and, like, tacks on a corkboard and just planning out all of my fusions like a creative, like, evil genius or whatever. But yeah, with the fusion chart in hand, it's not too hard to plan out your endgame party in this game, thankfully, compared to other Megami Tensei games to Let's Play. Behemoth here ain't too bad. I'm getting Nakajima pretty close to dying, though. Oops, I probably should have healed up faster. But yeah. Not too intimidating of a beast. I find it a little odd that they, you know, need the sword. It's like, you're a giant elephant. What do you need the sword for? You can just trample anything that, you know, fucks with you. You have tusks. Do you really need the sword? But yeah, now that we've shown off everything this area has to offer, it is grinding time! And we're back. Decided to do a bit of grinding because, frankly, Nakajima needs to get more powerful so we can summon even more powerful demons. But more importantly, I guess, is that I wanted to get the best sword for Yumiko, which you have to buy, and is a pain in the ass to get, because I believe it's actually the most expensive item in the game. It costs a whopping 50,000 Maka, and that is no small feat to have to grind up for that much cash, but we did it. So we're going to be getting that for her, but before we do that, we're going to take a pit stop to the Cathedral of Shadows, a few tiles over, in the 4th floor of Infini Palace here. And we're gonna finally clear out some of our older party members, I suppose. We've had that werecat for quite some time. We've also had Chimera for quite some time, though, so I believe it is finally time for us to say goodbye to Chimera, and while Thor was a good party member, mostly for off-screen grinding purposes, we could do better. So what we're going to do is we're going to fuse Papa Odin here, who not only has a full heal spell, but also has Tetraja, which is going to be a very useful spell for keeping us protected from instant death attacks in the near future. So, you know, what's not to love? Kind of a little disappointing that Odin has, you know, is basically the same sprite as Thor, but red, but yeah, you know, old games. And we still need a little bit more fusion fodder. Unfortunately, our party isn't quite compatible, but trust me, rest of this episode, mostly gonna be fusion. So, get ready for that. All of you who maybe have been watching this playthrough and are like, oh boy, there's not a lot of fusing going on this playthrough. Trust me, we're gonna give you all the fusion you want. Perhaps too much fusion. You might be sick of it by the end. But even then, it's always good to get more powerful allies on our journey. It's just a very backloaded Megami Tensei game, let's say. I will say, I meant to bring this up, kind of closer to the start of the dungeon. In a lot of ways, I feel like the Infini Palace really feels like almost like a final exam, in the sense that it's really taking all of the challenges that you faced so far and really testing you to make sure that you know how to play this game right, which I guess any final area in a good RPG should be doing. But, I don't know, something about this dungeon in particular, I don't know if it's maybe its length or just how spread out everything is, or what the deal is, but it really feels like it wants you to really have internalized everything that you have learned up to this point. And like I said, because by the time you get to this area in the game, the demons cost so much to have out-summoned. Like, look at that. Every step we take, we are just draining our magnetite resources. It really feels like it tests your ability to use your party efficiently. And hey, we're meeting up with an old friend here. We need to, you know, call in the troops and get our old pal Fungus into our party once more. So, we're all the way back at BN now again. And we're going to be doing even more fusing. So we have that giant from earlier. Really didn't use the giant, just had it in the party waiting to be fused. And there we go. We got our pal Pazuzu back. Just all of the good old party members that we know and love are just all coming back for this episode, aren't they? But sadly, Pazuzu is not going to be helping us much other than, once again, being used for fodder. We're like level 60 something, I think, and level 28 demon. Just not going to cut it. You can see me taking a note, or taking a look at my notes as I ponder at this menu. I had this whole thing mapped out for, like, ever before I recorded this, trust me. Like, I did so much fucking research on where to find enemies and where to do shit and just have a good party for this endgame here. A lot of research went into this final batch of episodes before I recorded them. We're gonna get a Yaksha, which is a pretty good demon. Will serve you well. It's a little starting to fall a little bit behind with our characters, but part of that is just because we spent so much time grinding that naturally we're gonna be a little over-leveled as a result too. So yeah, we got 4 demons. Pretty good party, right? Well, I mean, werecat isn't great. But speaking of werecats, why don't we get werecat's sister Nekomata in our party too while we're in BN? Might as well. Kinda hard to find, not gonna lie, and they aren't always the most easy enemy in the type, or enemy type in the game to recruit. But Vi here is actually very easy to find and very easy to recruit. We're just getting all the low-level demons in our party from BN, but turns out BN has a lot of really useful demons in terms of fusing more powerful demons in the late game, so it's kind of convenient that we don't have to go all the way back to, like, Mycon or something. And another fungus. Once again, we have recruited 3 fungi this entire Let's Play. Most useful demon in this game, low-key fungi. Always has your back, always answers your calls. Probably will, like, tip waiters and waitresses a good amount. Like, if you need someone to carpool with, fungus has your back. Just the best demon in this game, hands down. And look at that board full of so many options with our low-level demons here. I'm gonna get a Quancha. Or not. I guess I decided not to get the Quancha. As you can see, I haven't fully internalized what exactly I did here. Okay, this is what I did. So we're gonna get a Dryad. But yeah, that is one thing about this game that is actually maybe a secret benefit of the fact that there are so few demon options. Really what you can do is you can take a bunch of pretty low-level demons and just bullshit them up the ladder until you get some pretty powerful results. So we're going to take our lowly Dryad here and just keep exploring what options we have. Could fuse it with Nekomata to get a Trent Reznor again, but we're not going to do that. We're actually going to say goodbye to Yaksha and get a Anubis, who is pretty good, has a revive spell in Terrakaja. But yeah, this game, towards the end game, gets pretty easy to just go back to other areas, and if you have a fusion chart, just plan out what exactly you want and how to get it, and just, you know, make enough of a chain of fusion plans to get what you want. We got Anubis. And we're also going to fuse a Naga here. Really, I like Anubis a lot, but also part of me has to question in recent years how much of my like of Anubis is from the actual mythological figure of Anubis, or if it's actually just coming from the fact that Anubis from Zone of the Enders is like my favorite mecha of all time. But who knows. And would you believe me if I said we are still not yet done with fusing in this episode? But we're not. We're going to stay strong with Barong here. And we're going to once again use Sabatma to summon all of our party members without having to dip down into our admittedly very low amount of Magnetite that we have. We should probably spend some time getting that back up, but maybe not. We got more demons to recruit after all, and that costs money. Basically, what we're doing in this final stretch of the game is just paying off as many demons as possible to help us out in our quest to fight Lucifer. Quetzalcoatl is actually not the easiest demon to recruit either. Sometimes asks for a lot. Actually, honestly, anything that you want to recruit in the Infini Palace, not always the easiest demon in the game to get. And Quetzalcoatl kind of sucks anyways, as you can see. It only has 1 skill, and doesn't really have the most impressive stats in the world. This Wyvern. Wyverns are terrible to recruit in this game. I think it actually might be the hardest demon to recruit. They're always dissatisfied. They always ask for a shit ton of Magnetite and Maca and everything in the world, and it's just a pain to get a Wyvern. But I finally did it. And it's a shame, too, because they are also very good monsters to use for fusion fodder. But they're just so hard to get, and they ask for so much money. And half the time you give them, like, you give them, like, 10,000 Maca or whatever, and they're like, okay, I'm gonna leave now. It's unfair. But we can get a Dawan here, which is an okay demon if you got it around the time that it would have been useful, but we didn't, so. We are slowly but surely building up our ranks, and we are closing out on this fusion frenzy that we are experiencing here. Because what we can do is we can now fuse this with Odin to get Huanglong, which is one of the best demons in the game, and also has Tetraja, which is very useful. That Miragidine, also nothing to shake a stick at. This is part of the reason we were grinding, was that so we could actually control this thing, because you have to be level 60, as you can see. So yeah, one of the best demons in the game by far. Same with Odin, but unfortunately we had to get rid of Odin. So that's no good, but thankfully that's why we have the Naga and our other friend here, Anubis. Once again, we have Odin in our party. Only needed Odin twice, but we needed Fungus 3 times. I think that shows you who the better friend is at the end of the day. And once again, using Sabatma with Barong, we can just summon the most powerful fucking demons in the world, or at least in this game, into our party, and we are ready to basically steamroll through the rest of this game. Like, we're pretty good. We got the most powerful equipment, mostly, other than, like, some armor stuff for Yumiko, which actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I think I said the last episode that I ended up getting all that stuff. I actually don't think I do. My memory could be playing tricks on me, though, so maybe there's another grinding session somewhere in here. Can't remember, but who knows. So what we're going to be doing the rest of this playthrough is we're going to be wrapping up some stuff in Infinii Palace, but, I mean, not really all that much. We're just going to be talking to some NPCs. If you remember, we started this dungeon on the 2nd floor, and there's 4 floors. Obviously, there's going to be a 1st floor, so we're going to go down there for a bit and see what the deal is. Here's our map of the 2nd floor so far. Really large, there's a large section of the 2nd floor that really doesn't have much of note in there. I think, like, you can get some, like, life stones and other, like, minor items in, like, the southeastern portion of this map, if I remember correctly, but I didn't end up grabbing any of it. I didn't need it. But yeah, as you can see, we're really running low on on our money here, because it takes a lot to heal these goobers. They're powerful. The more powerful they are, the more expensive it is to take them to the vet, so not fun. But luckily, you don't need money when you're done with the game, right? So that's not going to bite us in the ass at all. Just gotta keep making our way down. And I'm just looking at the map there so I can remember how the fuck I get down to the 1st floor, because it's a little out of the way, if I recall correctly. Like, I think you need to go through a few hallways that aren't the most easily navigable. Oh, maybe not. I guess I was just wrong, fuck me. No, it's the 1st floor I'm thinking of. The 1st floor has a few bullshit hallways, but the 2nd floor, it's not too bad. Oh shit, we forgot the Pringles. Well, so that's basically our hint to not even bother facing down Lucifer if we don't have the White Dragon Orb. That was also a hint to go to that 4th floor and talk to that very important skeleton NPC, which we've already done, so we don't actually need to go up and talk to that skeleton anymore. We've already done that. Yeah, you can kind of see the eastern part of the Infini Palace here. Nothing much to note, really. King Troll, new enemy type. Just a recolor of the giant. I think I only ran into, like, 1 or 2 of these things, shockingly. They don't really show up much, but yeah, they hit pretty hard, and they, obviously, as you can see, come in really large groups, but that's, once again, part of the course for the enemy mobs in the final dungeon here. Not a lot of enemies in the Infini Palace, thankfully, can level you down. The only one that I can remember off the top of my head that actually can curse you and make you lose a stat is, I believe, Mephisto, or Mephistopheles. I think they only went with Mephisto because that's the, like, shortened version of it, because, you know, character limits and all that. It's not the Marvel villain. So yeah, let's go back to that urn, now that we know that there's something up with it, thanks to our skeleton friend. I'm not gonna make another Sans joke in this Let's Play, I promise. No, I kinda did, I guess. So yeah, no, you know, nothing different. We get to it the same way we got to it last time. Just go all the way to the west here. Then we go through this weird little maze here. Not even really a maze, I guess. And we teleport right to it, so yeah, nothing too complicated. Just make sure you don't accidentally go left here instead of right, or else you're gonna need to walk all the way back up and teleport all the way back over here, and that's no fun. So Rick's bracelet ends up finally being useful after all. We got that thing forever ago. So yeah, we have the White Dragon Orb, which is apparently the secret to kicking Lucifer's ass. Fuck yeah. Hell yeah. And since next time's the 3rd episode in this dungeon, you all know what that means, boss fight time. See you next time in the final episode.